and welcome back to the second hour of the Velocity of Now. I hope you had a cup of coffee or something to drink during the break. And I think about what I was speaking about there in the first hour. I saw a film the other night that I thought was really excellent, and if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it, especially for people who've been fans of the show, The Velocity of Now, and especially for those of you who've paid attention and listened to my shows on scrying and the idea that mobile devices may be acting as scrying screens. We talked about that for about a year or so now on the show. Lo and behold, someone emailed me the other night and they said there's a film that came out called Friends Request. It's only just out now. And they said, check it out. You'd swear that they were listening to the Velocities of Now and made a film based around it. So as things are with modern films, I don't really have a lot of faith in cinema today, especially Hollywood. And I have to say that this film, Friends Request, was absolutely excellent. It was an excellent film. It was very well made, very well acted, and they took the idea of social media as almost like what I've been talking about, like a demonic platform, and they really did the ideas justice. I'm sure they didn't get it from me, but maybe I just tapped into a zeitgeist or something, or was going on at the time, but I was really pleasantly surprised. I was very, very pleasantly surprised at how good the film was and how, you know what, I wouldn't say authentic, but how they did justice to the concept. Now, it's basically about the film Friend Request. It's basically about this college student who meets a mysterious girl online, but she's also in her psychology class in college. It's funny they even talk about the DSM and things like that. And the girl is like this talented, at a distance she seems like kind of a gothy, emo, harmless type from a distance. And the girl in it, the main girl, her life is going great. She's got a really nice boyfriend. Things are working out really well for him. She gets this girl and looks at her Facebook page, and she sees that she's kind of talented in a kind of a gothy sort of, non-conformist way. She makes artwork, and it's kind of like comic book style. It's quite good, and so she also sees she has no friends, zero, and she friends her. And basically, I'm not going to tell you what it is, but what happens, because it would kind of spoil the story. But apart from the fact it deals with the idea of the social media and the idea of demonic energies actually manifesting as Facebook accounts and that kind of thing. It's all there in this film. In fact, they even took it one step further than my ideas, and they actually showed that the code for these demonic pages was something like a Nokian script, which I thought was very, very clever. And there's a tremendous undercurrents about the dynamic nature of Facebook and so that kind of social networking. Yes, there's the obvious thing of like wanting likes and, not protecting yourself online, putting your private life out there. They handled that. There was one scene where she's having a birthday party where they showed like the inherent danger of these things like tagging on private photographs in real time and things like that. But also the way the film was made, it brilliantly utilized very good CGI graphics to basically show her life, or as things were happening, the number of friends on her Facebook page declining as things went bad. So it's almost like she becomes less and less herself and less of a person as the Facebook, friends list and the numbers of friends decline and start moving towards zero. And it's really like everything goes wrong. There's like these kind of like supernatural attacks. Her Facebook page is basically hacked into by this demonic force that puts everyone off her, and she's no control over it. And this is exactly what these kinds of these accounts that I've warned you about. And I'll tell you where I noticed these demonic accounts taking charge of people. Do you remember when a few years ago when you had the Israeli incursion into Gaza? I'm sure I spoke about this a few times, but it's worth bringing up again. You had the Israeli incursion into Gaza, and you had all these truthers who were posting the most horrific images of bodies and deaths and people, mostly children with their brains hanging, their guts hanging out, that allegedly were killed in the attack, but we don't know for sure. They could have been killed anywhere. But anyway, and you're posting disgusting anti-Semitic comments as if all Jews are responsible for this. And you could actually see no response from their friends. I actually watched. I kept a few controlled specimens. When this thing started going down, I said, "Okay, this is going to be good for getting data." So I noticed that often they would share the posts by someone with a Muslim name, like so Muhammad this or Ishmael that and that kind of thing. And you look at the profile pic, and it was usually a nice picture of a family man, an Arabic family man, and then you go look beyond that to see if you could find photos of the rest, any other family photos, and there was none others. There was none others. These were fake accounts. And you look around, and all there is pictures of like anti-Jewish stuff, anti-Israeli stuff, and pictures of babies with their brains hanging out and stuff like that, and things about Zionism. And then you have these guys, these truthers, who are not, generally will get fired. They're very easily fired up, and they're whipped up into hysteria because of the low education and low intelligence levels, and things like heavy smoking of skunk and things like that. They're whipped up into wild phobias, and they start sharing these images, these horrific images, on their Facebook page. And you could actually see the only ones agreeing with them would be other people like them. And you'd look around and you see that their family members and people they knew were on their Facebook page were not clicking or liking this. And then you would see two of them I noticed in particular would completely start flooding their pages with all this like pro sort of like Islamic Arabic stuff, anti-Jewish stuff. And I was actually looking in the corner and seeing their friends' number decreasing, but also their new friends would be these fake names with Islamic accounts, these Islamic fake names. And you could almost see that it was a demonic possession, like a jinn possession, taking them over, completely obsessed with posting these horrific photographs and then, alienate themselves from their original social network and family, and being sort of sucked into this demonic force of violence and Islamic fanaticism and anti-Semitism. And you could actually see the transformation taking place. And a lot of these people would end up very badly socially damaged in time. Like you see like posts eventually saying, "I'm so depressed." Like the first thing is like when they lose all their friends, this is how the demonic forces work, actually. This is how it really works. I'm not talking about the film here, I'm talking about real life. Suppose you're a truther, right? You're doing your truth stuff. And you get sort of groomed by one of these fake Islamic accounts, and you start sharing all this stuff, and you become more intense and more frightening to people. So you start losing friends in real life or family members saying, "Stop posting that shit." Then you see the next thing is they put memes saying, "The truth is the truth, even if no one likes it," that kind of a thing, or "The truth hurts," that kind of thing. They put those kinds of like self-inspirational means and it's all bravado, of course, because they've been taken over. And then eventually you follow these people, and after a while they kind of go quiet, and then you see the odd post saying, I'm so depressed, I'm suffering from depression, I hate the world. And then their Facebook account is gone, and then you might find out like a year or two later they committed suicide. So that this friend request it really is true. It happens on a psychic level. If it's not demonic, it definitely happens on the psychic level. But this was one of the other things I liked about this film, Friend Request, was that what was really good about it was that the demographic of the students in it, and they are very, very good actors, was a normal demographic. I can't watch Hollywood films nowadays because you have the cultural Marxist demographic. You have to have the black guy or the black girl, the Asian girl, the gay guy. You have to have like the whole spread. Where this one, you had people who were just like a typical group. There was one girl who was overweight, a guy who was kind of annoying, a really nebbishy kind of geeky guy who was a stoner, and then they were believable demographic spread that you would see in real life, not a Hollywood, inclusive or what they would call racially inclusive. So I found it very refreshing how they did it. It was very believable. That's actually added to the film. Now the film is violent and it's frightening and it might be disturbing to people, but I think Some people have said they must have been watching my Velocity of Nows. I doubt it. I mean, it's probably just me tapped into a zeitgeist. I'm sure other people are in it. But it does kind of, I don't want to end up like some people that, comparing my work constantly to pop culture. But, this is quite unique. It's quite unique how these things develop. And I think this is all part of the magic as well. You'll find that you're going to find that in time, the things I talk about, like films about druids and things, TV shows with druids and things like magic, you'll start seeing them more often because that's me, Thomas Sheridan. Cutting the show short tonight because I'm limited for time. I hope you enjoyed it. And feck him if they can't take a joke. And I'll see you on Sunday. Take care. All the best.